Well, thank you, Ray, for that very nice introduction. We do spend a lot of time trying to solve many of the challenges with moving passengers from the airport as effectively as possible. So Ray has asked me to give a brief discussion as part of this panel on some of the practices that we've put together on, different techniques for accelerating the movement of passengers both in the airport and tour sort of different operations. And so we really, and one of the nice things about, there's certainly very many things that I'm concerned about with the TNCs, but one of the great things that they have done is they brought a new awareness to the smartphone. And certainly at Hudson, we have taken a lot of advantage of that, and I'm going to talk about that in a second. The challenge is really to move as many people from the airport as possible. This is just a very simple thing, and as everybody in the airport business understands, that this is not usually a very easy thing. When you arrive at Fort Lauderdale or Miami International Airport and you got a whole bunch of people coming off these planes at the same time, or at some of the many other airports, this tends to be a very big challenge. And we need to move these passengers onto waiting tour buses or vehicles or whatever as quickly as possible. So that's really what the challenge is. And many times it's just a little bit of herding cats. People don't know where they are, they don't know why they're there. Maybe they do know why, but they don't know exactly where they should go and that sort of thing. And there's a lot of things that the airports have done that are phenomenal with good signage and messages to the passengers, etc. But really what the challenge is how can we go another level above that to be able to move the passengers even faster. So the goal is to know where everybody is. That's number one from a transportation provider standpoint. And one of the biggest challenges today is that people move on the buses, they don't know which bus they were on, somebody loses their hat, you can't figure out where they are. So knowing where everybody is a big deal.
Mark, you may want to stay closer to the microphone.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, there's a lot of background noise here, but it really helps
Great.
if you stay close.
The other element is to remove as much of the anxiety as possible from the traveler. And even I'm a seasoned traveler, I fly into Heathrow, and I still have some anxiety. And I'm worrying about whether this is going to be there. Did the airport change their rules and those sorts of things? So these are things that we want to address as much as possible. And we want to be able to accommodate all sorts of passengers, whether they're tourists, elderly or handicapped folks, business travelers, really everybody. And every one of these types of travelers has different ways that they want to either remove the anxiety or interact with the transportation providers, etc. So we've got to be able to address those needs at various different levels. And so what we've put together for most of the Go operators and many independent operators that use the Hudson software is we've basically built a number of different steps. And I'm using our software really as kind of a generic example of the things that you really need to do. First of all, literally everything we want to do is smartphone based. We're providing huge amounts of technology now where whether you have an app or don't have an app, that you have the ability to reach out to that client and give them the information and again remove that anxiety, remove that trepidation about where they're supposed to go. And so we do things like sending text messages to the passengers on their arrival. So we're monitoring the flight information status from the various flight feeds. And when that flight status shows that their airplane has landed, one of the first things that we have the ability to do is to send that passenger a text message if they have the capabilities to do that. If they have an app, it's very easy. We just send a message to their app. But we want to be able to reach in a broader standpoint from just people that have apps. Providing check-in technology where the passenger can literally on their smartphone, again, whether they have an app or don't have an app, that they can check in with the ground transportation provider. This is a critical element. And so we'll send either a link or we'll talk to their smartphone application, and we then, they'll hit one button, I'm ready to go. And then from that one button, we figure out where they are, where they should be, and we'll send a piece of information specifically that tells them you need to be in the Terminal B holding area, and you need to see a greeter, or you don't need to see a greeter, whatever the unique things are for that particular traveling passenger. We also have integrated a significant amount of GPS technology where we can know where the vehicles are, and we can give that information back to the passenger. Much like the TNCs. Hey, the TNCs aren't the only ones who can build cool technology. Okay, my comrades at Super Shuttle and Hudson have built some very substantial technology for handling these kinds of things. We're very proud of this technology. And there's a misnomer that the TNCs, developed all these new things. Hudson and Super Shuttle, and Hudson is part of the GO Airport Shuttle Group, have been doing much of these kinds of things for a long time. So, we have pictures of where the vehicles are, we have, greeting technology, etc. So, you can look toward your other partners and your longer term partners that are providing airport services for the same level of support to your traveling passengers. And we can help you make the experience at arriving at that airport so much better. And then finally, we're very, very big in rating the experience that the passenger had. And this includes instant feedback on the airport arrival situation, how good was the whole experience of getting off the plane, were they greeted, etc. So your partners in the ground transportation business can give you guys a lot of feedback instantly about the experience that the traveling passenger has had. Did I not see the signage? Did I not get on the cab correctly, or whatever? There's lots of different things we can provide. And so we look at this as basically a series of 3 steps. First of all, Hudson provides a bunch of technology that allows the customer to check themselves in. Today, people don't want to talk to people. We also do traditional check-ins at booths so that folks can come in and they can check in with greeters at booths and what have you. We provide technology to allow them to locate their vehicle very quickly. We tell them the vehicle that they should be on. So somebody's walking into the arrivals area, and how many times in Chicago O'Hare you see some passenger out there, where do I go? And so we'll tell them immediately, well, you need to go to this particular to this particular vehicle. It's a white van, it's a blue van, it's whatever color the independent product is. Here's your driver, here's the person that you need to make contact with, etc. So we're eliminating a lot of this trepidation. And finally, we're providing mechanisms by which we know exactly which passengers are on which vehicles, when they are, just like you have with the airlines. So instantly we can tell you as people transition through these different stages. We provide a whole bunch of technology that assists from a check-in standpoint, and provide technology that allows people with pre-printed vouchers and pre-printed tickets to be scanned quickly and to move off the airport very quickly. So the key here is that using state-of-the-art technology like barcode readers, I don't care whether you're running a tour bus and you've got 50 passengers you're trying to get on this bus, etc. All of this technology is very easy to apply and by the operator to make sure that that experience for the traveling passenger is as quick and as fast as possible. And again, departing the vehicle. So we have a number of different technologies that can be applied, both from the smartphone, both from e-tickets that are pre-printed tickets and vouchers, third-party vouchers. We have lots of people arriving at the airports that all they have is a piece of paper that is a voucher from Lipco or some international provider, and that's true of almost every airport provider here. And we want to get these passengers, we want the experience for the passengers as a good partner with the airport. We want that experience to be fast, easy, and remove as much of the anxiety as we possibly can. What's going on behind the scenes? Well, this is a typical, very sophisticated dispatch screen that your operators, your partners for ground transportation have. And so they know a lot about the traveling public. They know when they're arriving, they know who they are, they know where they need to be, etc. So we're tracking all of that information. We're noticing that the passenger is just got off the plane. So we're tracking this information. They're soon to go. They're going to be walking into the arrivals area very soon, and so we're going to be looking for that passenger and trying to make sure that we provide a good experience for them. When the passenger finally does check in, and that check-in can occur with their smartphone, it can occur with like a self-check-in kind of capability, very simple to use. It could occur with a scanning of a ticket, what have you. Instantly, the transportation company's dispatch understands this and again can communicate that information to the passenger as to where they should go and what they should do next. A big part of this process that we've been doing a lot of work with is basically barcoding everything. We all feel like we're at the grocery store and moving, as many groceries. Remember how bad it was when you all of a sudden the checkout wasn't, somebody typing all the stuff in, but being checked out. Well, now the big thing is to barcode everything, and we're working with all of the partners to make sure that we have this information and can effectively track people through the process. Once we know about the passenger, we can then dynamically attach and assign that passenger to a vehicle. Some rules are like, some airports require you to always check in. Some passengers require you to go to the third curb, etc. We accommodate all the rules for all the airports. And we would like to solicit as much feedback from you guys as possible to make that experience even better. We then notify the driver through real-time communications, again, just like the TNCs. Okay, we've been doing this for a long time. I know Super Shuttle will tell you exactly the same thing that Go is telling you. We have VMDT consoles. We call them a VMDT, but it's basically a tablet-based technology that allows us to receive the orders in real time from the dispatch, or as an auto dispatch kind of capability. Again, the same technology you guys have thought was only available with the TNCs. We can accept the job, reject the job, etc. They can come through the holding lot. They can do all the same kinds of things. The dispatches are notified, or it'll appear in a real-time manifest. So if you have a split where you have one coordinator greeting passengers, another coordinator actually handling the loading of the buses, so this can appear in real-time manifests. Again, everything is barcoded. We do a lot of work down in Jamaica where we actually, for the Sandals Resorts, for example, where we actually move all of the passengers using this barcoded technology, and there's different stages as the passengers move through the airport. And then finally, the most important thing that your transportation providers can do is they can move much of the information about these passengers right out to the curb. So the people who are dealing with the passengers on a day-to-day basis have that information in real time, have that information and can manage that information in an effective way. They're managing all the vehicles going in and out of the airport. They know exactly what vehicles, what drivers, where they're coming from, where they're going to. They have the ability to actually manage the trips themselves. So they could sit there with a tablet and they have the ability to literally select and route the passengers right in real time. And they can bring up little screens and they can do sort of all kinds of different capabilities. And I think the key thing, and I don't want to speak for too long here, but the key thing is the current ground transportation providers that you have are an equal partner to any of these new transportation providers that you have. The TNCs do not have the only technology that's out there. It's kind of like, I've been married for many years, and you forget, all the great things that you have right at home. And so these are the things that we want to make sure that you guys understand, that there's lots of technology out there, there's lots of capabilities out there, there's lots of things that you can work with the existing shared ride, limousine providers, on-demand providers that are all using this very advanced technology. And we can work with you to accelerate the movement of passengers. The key thing, the reflection at the airport, the reflection of the experience of the airport is as much about the ground transportation. And I sure as heck, I'm old enough to remember, for example, JFK and LaGuardia, where we had no regulations, where everybody could just come in and solicit passengers on demand. And this was an incredibly bad situation. And, you know, ground transportation providers banded together and with help of a number of other folks. And returning back to this unregulated environment isn't going to do very much for anybody's experience. And when they fly into the airport, it's only part of that reflection is about the transportation provider. It's also a reflection of the airport. And so working with the existing ground transportation providers and taking advantage of the technology that we can bring to bear is very, very important. And today there's competition for airports. You have, like in the Boston area where I'm from, you've got Logan and you've got Manchester. I'll tell you, you know, Manchester's trying everything they can to take passengers away from Logan. And so if Logan doesn't do everything they can to create an experience that is a positive experience, they can take the same airline, drive 45 minutes because most of the people are coming equidistant, and they'll go out of the regional airport. And maybe you're the regional airport and you want to attract more passengers. So there's a competitive thing that working with your existing ground transportation providers will give you the leg up and provide ultimately a better service for your traveling passengers.